Steve, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man, and thank you for your time.
I am happy to oblige. I don't need to ask if you've been to Austin before, because not only have you performed stand up here, I believe numerous times in the past, but you also have a wild story from your pre Jackass days that we may have to get into at some point. For you, as somebody that travels the country and sees a lot of different places and performing stand up and doing what you do, which is very unique for the stand up stage, what do you rank Austin amongst your favorite places to come try and make people laugh, Steve?
Dude, all the way at the top. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I love performing in Austin so much. I literally made a point of taping my first ever comedy special in Austin. Texas in general, I've always felt just had the most uh, respectful and engaged audiences. I think I attribute that to like the old saying, don't mess with Texas. I think there's just something like kind of ingrained in the people of Texas is that you respect, you have respect. You have a good time, you be wild, all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, you have respect, and that's just something that's come through for me, and I've always appreciated it so much.
Now, somewhat recently, you purchased land around Nashville, a place that you openly call a ranch, and there may be an animal rescue component to it as well. Did you consider buying land in Texas to do something similar, and ultimately just decided to make your home in Tennessee?
I very well may have. I knew that I wanted to get a property with a lot of land to open up an animal sanctuary. By the way, that has absolutely happened.
Oh, nice.
Um, it's not been announced, you know, far and wide on a public level, but I've achieved official 501c3 nonprofit status with my animal sanctuary at the property here in Tennessee. As far as like Tennessee versus Texas, it was literally as simple as there was a UFC event in Nashville, and I'm a UFC maniac. So I'm like, oh, dude, I'm going to this UFC event, and while I'm there, I'll use the time to go look at properties. And attended the UFC event, looked at properties, and this one just screamed to me, and I bought it. So that's how I ended up in Tennessee.
What's been the most fulfilling thing about getting to start an animal sanctuary, Steve? I know that there are steps that you have to take in terms of the types of animals and how many animals that you're taking in, but I have to imagine that's a pretty eye-opening experience for you. That is somebody who's done and seen a lot in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know about like steps and types of animals. The uh, the process began considerably before I moved out here. I rescued three goats, and I got them in California, like way down at the border of Mexico, and brought them up. I had them in the Hollywood Hills
Hmm.
from like November 2019 until I left in March of 2024. So that was kind of my I don't know, animal sanctuary starter kit, where I kind of got used to taking care of farm animals. Now we've got four goats, two pigs, three cats, and two dogs. Um, so it's coming along, man. And once we get this fully announced, then we'll be doing proper fundraisers, and the next step, the next plan is to adopt cows and donkeys and chickens.
The jackasses you've said in other interviews, which
Oh
I think that's only
yeah,
fitting, right?
100%, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have a cast of jackasses.
So I've always heard that pigs are very similar to dogs in terms of their temperament if you have them as pets. Has that been your experience? Is that pigs are very friendly, much like dogs are?
No, that's
No?
not. I'm gonna push back on that one. I've got a very moody pig that you kind of got to be careful of. Like pigs can be grumpy and kind of mess you up.
Pigs are crazy because if you release them into the wild, they very quickly become feral. Like their hair grows longer and they get really mean. But apparently, you've got one who's going to stay mean even in captivity.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one. Then the of my pigs, the one with the longer hair is actually a lot friendlier.
Huh.
But yeah, no, I love it though, man. I really do.
This is hard to even imagine. I'd never heard of this before learning more about your story, but you graduated from the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College in
Yeah.
1997. You said that you weren't an exemplary student necessarily, but you did graduate from Clown College. What was required of you to get the credits necessary to graduate from clown school, Steve?
The only things that you had to uh, do skills wise was you had to be able to walk on stilts.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, and like 3 foot tall stilts. So like your feet would be 3 feet above the ground. Um, but there wasn't really like much in the way of like requirements. You had to give everything your best shot. And ultimately, like once you were in clown college, they wanted to kind of you know uh, like really emphasize your strengths, like make you into the best performer that you could be. um it was intense, man. It was a lot more like boot camp than college. It only lasted for 1 summer.
Hmm.
uh it was like boot camp for circus clowns. But yeah, it was a really awesome opportunity. And it jump started what would become my career.
How long did it take you to get comfortable walking on 3 foot stilts?
I learned pretty quickly.
Okay.
I learned pretty quickly. Then, I ended up working as a clown on cruise ships where I would routinely walk on 4 foot stilts. And it always entered my mind that it was like would be scary to fall, if a strap came undone or something, or if I slipped somehow. And I became like pretty hyper focused on the idea of falling on stilts. And that ended up being the impetus for my creative contribution to the Jackass pilot, where I was walking on stilts and we set my stilt costume on fire. And a unicyclist rode through my stilts while a skateboarder jumped off a roof uh, over my head through a fireball I was breathing. And then they rolled away and I cracked open a beer and pounded it while I tipped myself over and crashed onto the concrete. And that one never saw the light of day outside of a little like documentary I made on my own, because we didn't know that MTV was so touchy about fire.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah. There
What?
was there was a really big, costly lawsuit from the heyday of Beavis and Butthead.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
there was a fatal fire in like a trailer park somewhere in America, where like a kid burned down the trailer. Like his infant sister was tragically killed in the fire. And when asked why he did it, he said, Beavis and Butthead said, fire, fire. And, Beavis is clicking the lighter. And MTV, I don't know if it was a settlement or whatever, but that cost MTV a lot of money. And they had some other incidents involving fire that were particularly unfavorable for them. So they had no sense of humor whatsoever with anything to do with fire.
I guess that also explains why we didn't see more shows where people were shaving their pubes and gluing them to their face like they had facial hair, huh?
I don't know that there were ever any issues with that type of a thing, but we were beyond being on MTV as far as the TV show by that point. So, once we had the R rating, like pubes were no big deal.
So there's obviously a proper way to fall. You want to try and roll into the fall. You don't want to stick arms or legs out too much because that just leads to joints that end up getting all sorts of wrecked. Is there a proper way to fall on stilts though? Is it trying to roll into the fall?
It's going to be tougher to roll.
You're
Uh,
right.
like a shoulder, like getting a shoulder onto the ground is helpful, I think.
Just go straight shoulder in the ground and hope you don't separate
Yeah.
the shoulder.
Yeah, there was some so we did some pranks where I toppled myself over on stilts for Jackass. Um that did make the cut because there was no fire involved. Um but yeah, in any case, like my clown skills did kind of creep into the fold every so often with Jackass, and that was always cool.
I love how your own existential understanding has found its way into your stand-up shows, Steve. In the past, you've talked about how you are this aging guy who is known for doing these crazy stunts that oftentimes would inflict pain on yourself. What's going on with the current tour, the Crash and Burn tour that's coming to Cap City Thursday through Saturday?
Well, first off, thank you. And the new tour is there's a theme to it. It's me confronting middle age. Like it's a little bit of a midlife crisis type thing. I have made a pretty massive deal out of optimizing my health and really exercise and diet and like doing everything I can to keep myself in tip top shape. And having done that, and really, being in a position where I do have the luxury of still using my body, man, I've been I've been going for it. So I'm no spring chicken, but I've been going to war, and the way that my show plays out, the format of it, it's multimedia live comedy. So imagine an extra naughty Jackass movie meets a stand-up show where all of the stand-up material is storytelling and jokes which are paid off and punctuated with video assets that come rapid fire throughout the show. There's like some 40 videos that that illustrate my stand-up routine, that that punctuate it, like the punchlines, the payoffs. A lot of that lives in a multimedia format, and it's my third show of its kind where I have two multimedia comedy specials which live on my website in all of their uncensored frankly pornographic glory. I've really leaned into like pushing things farther than I ever could with Jackass, and for that reason, these comedy specials would never be allowed to play on YouTube or even Netflix for that matter, but they stream absolutely for free at stevo.com. So if anybody's interested in seeing what my last two tours looked like to kind of get an idea of what this new one, how it works, that's there. And if you want to see the new show, it's just as crazy as anything else I've ever done. And I'll be at the Cap City Comedy Club this weekend.
Are you filming any videos in Austin before doing your shows this weekend, or is everything already taken care of in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the filming that I do for the multimedia live show is it's pretty high level stuff.
Yeah.
There's like there's not a lot that kind of you incidentally film for that. The bar is absurdly high for the like the last two shows set the bar unbelievably high, and it's been an all out war for me to follow that up, and it's exciting, man. I love it.
Very cool. Well, I also love that in your desire to lead a healthier life, that you've also carried that over to your podcast, where you have gotten to a point where you're no longer doing ads that are
Yeah.
selling destructive stuff. That's great, man, because look, I'm in sports radio. I do a podcast as well. There's lots of money to be had with legalized gambling, but that causes a lot of problems too. And for me, as somebody who 20 years ago was like, yeah, gambling should be legal, I believe that at the time when it wasn't as simple as just opening your phone up and pressing a button, all of a sudden you could give all your money away to DraftKings or whoever else. So credit to you and thank you for taking a stand, I guess, at the expense of your bank account in a sense and saying, you know what? I want to offer positive things to people. This is something that is potentially very destructive, so I just can't do it anymore.
I appreciate that a lot, man. Yeah, me getting involved in promoting gambling, it felt very organic when it happened because I did so, in the context of me being such a rabid fan of the UFC. So it was like every time I did a promo, it was, effectively on the eve of a UFC pay-per-view event. And I would just exude my enthusiasm for the upcoming event. I would make my picks for the fights and participate in this promotion. So I got into it kind of, organically and not really feeling like there was anything wrong with it. But like over the last year or so, I just kind of took another look at like what spirituality means for me and what I really want to be about. And I just all of a sudden when I looked at it that way, I felt so hypocritical for striving to be on a spiritual path while promoting gambling. I was like, it just doesn't. I can't do it anymore. So yeah, like if I sacrificed some revenue, I felt good about it. And again, I appreciate you bringing that up, man.
You once said that only two things motivate actions or decisions: love and fear. What do you fear?
I mean, I think all fears generally are rooted in the idea of not getting what you want or losing what you have. And I don't think that I'm particularly unique on any level. Like I've been working at this career, this ridiculous career of mine for for a good long time now. It's been decades, and everything that I've worked to save, like I'm afraid of losing it. It's really easy to lose everything. Um, the I'm afraid of, I don't know, like being unworthy of love, or like having everybody hate me. I'm very sensitive about the opinions of others. Like I don't know, so like losing everything, like being broke, having people not love me, or even hate me. That's gonna be my biggest fears.
My wife is afraid of clowns, so the next time she brings up her fear of clowns, I'm going to say, you know who was a clown? Steve-O was a clown. Are you afraid of Steve-O? Because if you are, shame on you. You shouldn't be. All right, last question now, Steve. I'm going to laser focus the second part of that question. What are you afraid of? The other side of that, of course, is what you love. What do you love specifically about doing stand-up comedy?
Well, I mean, shoot, I like at my core in everything that I do, I would describe myself as an attention whore. Like whether I'm videotaping, a stunt on or a skateboard trick, or writing a book, or doing a podcast, or making a movie, or performing a joke. Like everything that drives me is the idea of captivating people's attention, and even more than that, like deserving people's attention. Like I like to think that when I get on stage, and when you're consuming my content, or watching me perform, that I'm not wasting your time, and that I'm doing my job of distracting you from the stressors in your life. that I'm, effectively distracting you from your problems and giving you joy and peace in that moment. That's what I love, man. I love entertaining people and making their problems go away, albeit temporarily.
He is Stephen Glover, better known as Steve-O, and you have a chance to see that firsthand at Cap City Comedy Club this weekend. 7:15 show on Thursday and 7:30 and 9:45 shows on Friday and Saturday. Go to capcitycomedy.com to snag those tickets. See the videos that he referenced a little bit earlier. Connect with him on social media. Find his podcast through his website, steveo.com. Steve, thank you so much for the time. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so we may have to hear that
Good.
guinea pig story the next time we chat. But in the meantime, safe travels to and from Austin this weekend.
Hey, man, I super appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much.